knows your music. He speaks your mind. And he's got you locked on. Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
Good afternoon, my beautiful listeners. This is MBS, Mind, Body and Soul, knowledge worth sharing. The voice of hope, the voice of inspiration, and the voice of encouragement. I am your host, Raymond. I'm so happy this day, and I know and I believe that you, my beautiful listeners, are happy as well, because this is the day that the Lord has made. We have to be happy and rejoice in it. Oh yes, my beautiful listeners, like I said, this is such a wonderful day, and I'm happy that I'm with you today. MPS is growing because of your support, and I'm so excited because I believe and I know and I understand that the message that MBS is sharing is very, very relevant to your lives. So that is why your support is very, very important, and I'm happy that you're showing a very good support. To those who just tune in, yes, welcome to MBS. You can catch us on Anchor FM, Podbeam, Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Radio Public, and tune in. Or you can just catch us on social media, Facebook, under Creative Brains, Twitter, YouTube. Click, share, comment, and subscribe. I am your host, Raymond. Today I'm going to be talking about something which is quite exciting, something that is very, very important. It's like two powers in our lives. Before I can talk about that, there is a statement that I really, really like to share with you. I wish you have a paper and a pen where you are, because this is very, very important. The statement goes like this: if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the presence. I'm gonna repeat that again. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the presence. On that note, my beautiful listeners, this beautiful day, this afternoon, we're going to be talking about time and change.
He knows your music. He speaks your mind. And he's got you locked on. Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
Oh yes, my beautiful listeners. Like I said, we're going to be talking about these things actually. It's two of them, right? We're going to be talking about time. We're going to be talking about change. I want you to write this down. There are two powers in life. There are two powers in life that every one of us have to deal with every day. The two powers in life that you can never control or stop. It's time and change. You cannot control time. You cannot control change. If you would have listened to my statement earlier, the statement that I just shared with you of saying if you are depressed, you are living in the past. But if you are at peace, you are living in the presence. Secondly, the two most difficult components in life to manage, it's time and change. Whether you like it or not, New Year is coming. Tomorrow is coming. Your child, your son, your daughter is growing, whether you like it or not. It's gonna be evening, it's gonna be day, it's gonna be light, it's gonna be morning. Thirdly, a man's life consists on how he manage and use his or her time and change. We become what we are as a result of how we used our time and how we manage our change. In life, we live to become what we want to become. But at the end of the day, you are a product of these two things: time and change. How you manage the two is important. Point number 4. It is very important in your life to manage these two things. It is very important. The key to your future is the successful management of time and change. The key to your future is the successful management of time and change. You cannot stop time. You cannot stop change. So all you can do with them is to manage them, and you become what you are based on how you manage both of these elements or both of these powers. You're simply a product of how you use your time and how you manage change. You have been through so far, and what you become in 10 years from now, it will be a result of how you manage your time and how you manage changes. So we are going to talk about time, right? Yes, time. For an example, a minute. Time is amazing. The power of time is amazing. It's every day, every week, every month, or a year. It's a gift given to us by God. That it's time. And you know, I'd like to put it in a simple term. We normally live our lives with that mentality of saying, you know what, I still have time. And I believe after, going through some couple of things, especially, I'm going to quote this verse in the Bible. It's, let me just check. Oh yes, it's Job 14 verse 5. It says, a person's days are determined, clear as the bell. Since his days are determined, the number of his months are in God, and you have appointed his limits that he cannot pass. So it stated how important time is, how important the value of time, how important it is to make sure that you utilize your time effectively, because in each and every time, minute, seconds, weeks, days, there is change that is taking place. So in the purpose that you have created to come here on earth, you have limited time to fulfill that purpose. So it is important there is no time for you to experiment, because the time for experiment it's not even included in your time schedule. You have to deal with the challenges and the changes within the time limit that you have been given. How are you spending your time? How are you managing changes? Some of us, we've been spending time sitting in front of the TV, sitting, doing nothing, watching movies, watching all this kind of stuff, not knowing that our time on earth is limited. I have a purpose to fulfill. And when I encounter challenges, which we call them changes, I need to face them, deal with them, and move forward, because these two elements I cannot stop or change. The only power I have is to manage them so that I can reach my destination. Roads were made for journey, not for destiny. Teach yourself to manage time. Teach yourself to manage changes. A person who complains because of challenges, time, changes, that person is wasting his time.
He knows your music. He speaks your mind. And he's got you locked on. Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
Oh yes, time, and time. You know, if we can start to teaching ourselves this thing, if I am experiencing some difficulties or challenges, let me deal with them as soon as possible, so that it doesn't eat the time that I need to become what I need to become. This is the future time that I need to use for future. But if I am going to prolong solving the problems or prolong to deal with issues, it will catch up with me, because it's going to eat from the time that was budgeted for my future plans. So I'd like to urge each and every one of you that, you know what, time and change, these are the most important things in our lives, and we need to make sure that we spend our time doing something that is going to grow our lives from one point to the next. You know, you listen to people each and every time. I know we are different, we deal with things different, but the mere fact that if we could teach ourselves about what I've just I just read from you, for you, especially when it comes to Job 14 verse 5, when it says, a man's time is determined. You have a time clock in your in your lifetime. You are not here forever. You don't have time to experiment. So each and every challenges that you go through in your life, God knows and He's aware of that. So, you know, when I'm going through something which is hard, difficult, challenges, argument, people treating me bad and all that, I need to deal with that situation now and move on. I don't want to use the time for prosperity to deal with pity, hate, the things that I went through and I have to share with people. Let me tell you something. You talk to people most of the time when you are in pain, when you are devastated, when you feel like you have been rejected, when they listen and they feel sorry for you, that doesn't change your situation. Some of them, 80%, they say, I'm happy, it's not me. 20% they are saying, I'm happy. It's her or it's him. But they will listen. But there's nothing it's going to change in your life. So it's better to deal with it, sort it, let it not eat in the time that it's budgeted for my growth, for my changing, becoming the best person, becoming the better version of myself. I had to go through grinding. It's the same as like diamond, need to be shaped, crafted, cut, polished, and all that. It need to go through that process to become the better version of it. This is you. All these things are controlled because of time and changes at the same time. Complain, murmuring, bitterness, and all that, it doesn't solve anything. It's just there to eat your time. So if you can teach yourself to manage these two things, time and change, your life will be different. We like pouring our hearts to people that we don't even know. It's even worse these days because there are social media platforms where we say, I went through some 1, 2, 3, 4, and when you feel people feel pity for you, you're like, oh, but does that help you? Stand up, deal with your issues so that the time that you were given here on earth is not wasted in focusing on the past or dealing with the self-pity. We all have problems. We all need help. We just don't know how much help do we need. I'm just sharing this with you, my beautiful listeners. It doesn't mean I'm saying I'm 100% correct. I'm sharing this so that we know how we're supposed to utilize our time. I'd rather spend most of my time being happy than spending most of my time doing the negative things. Like I said, when I started, I shared with you this statement. When you are depressed, you are living in the past. When you are anxious, you are living in the future. But when you are at peace, you are living in the present. It's very much more important. Time, change will always be there. How we manage this is very important, because when we manage them nice, it will shape our life to become the greatest life ever. This is MBS, Mind, Body and Soul, knowledge worth sharing. I am your host, Raymond. Please, you can catch this podcast on Anchor FM, Podbeam, Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Radio Public. Tune in, or you can catch us on social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Click, share, comment, subscribe. Let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about things that we really need to talk about. Let's talk about things that are growing us to the next point. Let's talk about solution, not problems. Because problems, they are already there. Let's talk about how can we solve them. MBS, Mind, Body and Soul, and knowledge worth sharing. This is the station for talk, for families, for advice, for motivation, for inspiration. I am your host, Raymond. Have a beautiful day.
He knows your music. He speaks your mind. And he's got you locked on. Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.